Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Molly and I have been taking the kids on a lot of hikes lately out at Buzzard's Roost here in Chillicothe, so last time we went I decided to bring my Canon F-1n with the 50mm f1.4 SSC and a roll of ILFORD Ortho Plus. So today we are going to go through these scans, talk a little bit about the photos and how the film handled some different lighting conditions. It's still a relatively new film and I haven't shot a ton of it yet, so I really wanted to get a good feel for it and different light and skin tones and things like that, so let's just jump in here. This is typical Nora making that face with her little teeth sticking out. People always comment on that. She always has her little teeth sticking out and we absolutely love it. But I love the contrast here. It's really punchy but still clean. Elliot here kind of pointing at the map, going over the route we were about to take. In hindsight, I wish I would have shot this with the lens stopped down a little bit more so you could really see his hand as he was pointing at the map, but still I like this one here. Not long after this, as we were walking, he tried to run around me, as he does because he's 3, and I didn't see him at all, and well... This way, Nora. Ooh. Sorry about that, bud. Really high contrast scene here. You can see the shadows on the bark itself, how hard those lines are in the shadows. That just shows you it was in direct sunlight with really hard light, but still great shadow detail in the shadows there, and the highlights didn't blow out, which I was kind of surprised. I was really just looking for like a variety of different subjects with different colors in the scene as well as different light, again just to get a feel for the film. These aren't photos that I'm going to print or hang up on the wall or anything. I'm just trying to get a good test example. This photo here of this tree, I was kind of curious if things would get a little bit lost in terms of how this film like renders greens. I was kind of afraid that things would just blend in, and that is definitely the case here. The tree obviously stood out much more in color and just in our eyes, but the way this film renders green tones, things definitely got kind of mixed in there and everything just sort of blends together and you lose a lot of that detail and definition, which I'm not really a fan of. Using a more shallow depth of field I think helps with this kind of film and shooting in these kind of environments, because if you're just relying on the light on the different subjects in the scene in order to kind of separate things and make things stand out, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So for me, shooting with shallower depth of field in this setting, it definitely helped kind of keep things apparent from, you know, what I was actually shooting and making sure things stood out. Like this scene, for example, obviously a much higher contrast scene, and I was using a 1.4 aperture, so I really had that leaf that I was focusing on kind of pop out, and kind of layering it over the darkest part of the reflection. That was kind of the goal. I love all of these exposed roots up here at Buzzard's Roost, and you can see I shot this photo almost wide open, I think. You can tell just by the vignetting and sort of that swirl effect around the corners that you get. The f1.4 SSC 50mm lens from Canon, it definitely has a lot of character when shooting wide open, which I personally like, but that's more of a personal preference thing. This is sort of the main like vantage point of Buzzard's Roost, and in post I had to add quite a bit of contrast in order to get the photo to look how it looked to my eye while I was there. The photo right out of the scanner was pretty flat, and all of the shadow that was laying over from the clouds on the hills there, a lot of that was really lost, and again things were just kind of like blending in, so I just had to really pull the shadows down a little bit in order to help that stand out. I also shot a couple of like the point where the cliffside is, as well as the trees hanging over from that same view, and I shot a couple different ones here. I shot this one at probably f8 or f11, but the first one I shot was actually shot wide open at f1.4, and you can see how swirly things get around the corners and that heavy vignette. This is obviously not the way any landscape photographer is going to approach shooting something like this, but I kind of like it. Again, I like that pop of what's in focus. It really stands out against the background there. I think the original photo, things just get really lost, but having that kind of pop and a little bit of a different kind of dreamier kind of look, it is not the technically best landscape photo at all, and most landscape photographers watching this are probably cringing, but I like this one more than the other one. Outtake of Elliot laughing, trying to focus on him as he's moving is incredibly tough. Like this photo here, I definitely missed focus on his eyes, which is what I was intending to do, but I like the photo itself just for his expression. That just looks like him. Well, he had to pee at this point, so sorry about that. Always with the expressions, this kid. Actually, when I got these scans in and I saw these photos, I realized just how bad his hair looked. He was pulling a very Lloyd Christmas look at this point. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, you might remember seeing a photo of him where he wasn't the biggest fan of getting his hair cut. So after getting these scans back, I was like, okay, we have got to cut this kid's hair. So yesterday, I finally got him to let me cut his hair, and all it took was agreeing to let him have blue hair like Sonic, a Happy Meal, and also a Super Wings toy from Amazon. So that's all it took. Clearly parenting experts here. And that was pretty much our whole hike. Again, I just took one roll with the F-1n, and I've had a lot of people asking me to do a review of this camera, but I don't really think I'm going to, because there's nothing that I'm going to tell you about this camera that isn't already out there. But if I do keep this camera, we'll see. I'm not really sure. I just don't use it that often, even though it is insanely enjoyable to use. I might just do videos like this from time to time, where I don't really do a review of a camera. It's more of just, here's 1 or 2 rolls that I put through the camera, here are the photos, let's talk about it. That to me seems a lot more practical and useful than a review where I'm just reading about the camera itself. And ILFORD Ortho Plus, this is definitely a unique film. It's not a film that I'm going to be shooting all of the time because ILFORD HP5 exists, but if you haven't tried it, I would definitely recommend picking up a roll just to see how you would like it. And although a lot of people say it's great for landscapes because how it handles greens, I honestly really like using it for portraits as well. So yeah, don't limit yourself to what you shoot with it, just try and shoot everything with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so before we wrap up, I'm going to take a minute to pay some bills and thank our sponsor today, which is Squarespace. You guys have heard me talk about Squarespace for years. They're the best all-in-one platform to build a great looking website. I've been using Squarespace for my own website way before they ever sponsored this channel because it really is super easy to use. They have tons of different templates to choose from, and it's really easy to customize it and make it look how you want it to look. But if you ever do have any issues, they have 24/7 award-winning customer service. Whether you're looking to get your domain set up, have an online store, a place to show off your work, Squarespace offers everything. So if you want to try it out, you can do so entirely free at squarespace.com, or if you're ready to get signed up, I can save you 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain by going to squarespace.com/mattday. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, definitely let me know in the comments down below and give the video a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this where I just take a different kind of film and a different camera and just go out and shoot and share the results here and kind of walk through all the scans, let me know, because this is a much more enjoyable way of doing this rather than doing a review on something that I either don't use that often or I don't have for very long. So let me know what you guys think. Again, if you're new here, you can go ahead and subscribe. There are new videos every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but that is it for today. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.